Morning, everyone. Welcome to our Coping with COVID series here at UNI. My name is Dan Binkin. I work within our business outreach programming called the Center for Business Growth and Innovation. I'm joined by Mark Hermann from our team, who is our main CEO peer group facilitator, as well as Lori Fay, owner of Wady Industries, and Jack Haskin, owner of Jackson Manufacturing. I'm just going to introduce things quickly and let Mark take it from there, but I wanted to mention that in the coming weeks, we're going to continue to do these webinars once a week, typically on Wednesday mornings at 10 o'clock. Our focus in the next couple weeks will be helping companies who are currently trying to figure out how to move from more of a bricks and mortar situation to something that looks more virtual to meet the needs of clients and kind of fit within the realms of our current social distancing laws and shutdowns and things like that. So if you fit that model as well of looking at how can I become more online with my business, please join us. And also tomorrow at 10 o'clock, so the 23rd at 10 o'clock, we'll be talking with an insurance expert. She'll be covering some different things on how insurance can come into play during a time like this, or how it might not come into play during a time like this. So we will be joined by Andrea Johnson with the Excel Group out of Waverly, Iowa, and she'll be talking through some of those questions that you might have about how your insurance relates to COVID. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark, who's been our peer group facilitator since the start here at UNI. We've done peer groups for quite a while, and Mark, take it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dan. Well, we all have challenging times right now, and Advance Iowa years ago started a program specifically for owners of companies. And Lori and Jack are here today to help share with us some of their experiences. It is a time when owners of companies can get together and in a confidential setting share these ideas. As a matter of fact, this week we had a meeting with our CEOs, and the topic we discussed was stress in the workplace and stress at home. These are topics that sometimes are not discussed outside of maybe a husband and wife, not very often. So consequently, these are really great ways for CEOs to share ideas. So Lori and Jack, thank you for taking time to do this. What I'd like to do is start out with you just introducing your company, what you've done, and tell us a little about your history. Lori, would you start? Because I know it goes back a few years.
Sure. Our company is Wady Industries. We're located in Maquoketa, Iowa. We're a small family-owned steel fabricator and epoxy coater. We manufacture load transfer units for highway road construction. Primarily, our product is shipped within the Midwest, but we do ship as far as Africa and Guam. We are family-owned, like I said. We've been in business since 1974, and I'll actually be celebrating my 30th anniversary tomorrow. We currently have 28 employees, and we work one shift.
Jack, how about yourself? Would you?
Yes, Mark, Jack Haskin, Jackson Manufacturing. My story, I was the director of sales prior to buying the business, and I was director of sales from 2010 till 2013, and we're a plastic injection molder. We had roughly 16 employees. When I came on as director, I was 10 employees. Grew the business, but they were going to close the business down. I purchased the company in February of 2013, and have since grown it to 16 employees. We mold plastic components for different industries, but one of our core businesses, we do a lot for the window and door business. And are proud to say Anderson Window is one of our fine customers. Ultimately, we sell to their supplier who sells to them. And again, like I said, I employ quite a few women. I have 16 employees, and let's see, 11 of them are women. So I'm proud to do that. And that's it. We're in Maquoketa, Iowa, and things are going well.
Good. I've been working with the peer group here in Eastern Iowa for over 3 years. And these are two of our original members, which I really think is a tribute to this program. The fact that we have folks that have stayed with us for many years, and sometimes people who join these peer groups may be in for a couple years and then try something else and then come back. And we've actually had that happen already this year. So the thing I would like to make a point of right here before we continue with some questions is this peer group deals with a lot of different issues. And in order to get a perspective across the board, we have purposely brought together a heterogeneous group. So we have companies made up of smaller groups of employees, larger groups, different types of experiences in manufacturing, distribution. And instead of having like all electrical contractors sitting around a table talking about their hot buttons, we actually get these folks working together so that they have an opportunity to really open up. And one of the things that allows them to open up is the fact that we do this in a confidential setting. So I would like to point that out because that is very, very important to the growth of these peer groups. So my question for you, Lori, today is, when you first joined this peer group, you knew we had a confidential setting that we were going to do this in. What were your thoughts? What were you thinking about what you wanted to get out of this peer group? What was one of your goals?
Well, I was very hesitant in giving up the time at first. But I would say probably by the second meeting, I realized that it was time well spent. And basically, I was just hoping to gain knowledge from other CEOs' experiences, issues. Bottom line is we all have the same problems. And I was able to get guidance and help. Every meeting I leave with more knowledge than when I went into the meeting. So that's exactly what I've taken from each meeting. It's just the sharing of experience. And then we go and put it to use and hope it works. And in most cases, it does.
You said something there, Lori, more knowledge. And that's what we've seen, that in this group has more experience, more knowledge overall than any one person. So the group, in a sense, is smarter than any one person. And that's why it works. How about for you, Jack? What did you expect when you wanted to get started?
Mark, it's funny how time flies, but I remember talking to a couple different individual coaches, and I was thinking about getting some coaches to come in and help me bounce these ideas past them. And what I found in a very quick order was these coaches are super expensive. Oh my goodness. I mean, we're talking, you could spend for a year $8,000 to $10,000. And I thought, I can't see spending that kind of money. And your timing, Mark, back in probably February or March of 2016, I don't know why I remember that.
Yeah, that's true. I remember.
Couldn't have been better, because you come in and say, I want to help you be a better CEO. And I said, have a seat. So, and from there, you and I has done a wonderful job. I've been with the team, with the CEO roundtable since then. And what I like about it is we learn together, we laugh together, and then we really network and help each other solve their problems. Every meeting I look forward to, it's somewhat social. Back to the confidentiality, Mark, I've never had a problem disclosing some personal stuff happening for business or maybe personal, but try not to go there. But, that's part of our format. Your personal life steers your professional life. I don't care what you say, it happens. It's just, it goes together. And so anyway, I look forward to it each month. It's a little tough. We just met yesterday, but I like the Zoom format. I like to be able to see the people, and so that that's what I really like about the program. I'm a member of ABI. I'm on the board of Iowa Association of Business and Industry, and I promote this program to them And there's other programs in the state, don't get us wrong, but you won't, for the value, you won't find a better program. So.
Absolutely, you know, and the fact remains that the group is only as good as the people that are brought into it. And we do have a limited size group when we run these peer groups. It's usually around 12 to 14 companies. And it's people like Lori and Jack who have contributed to the value that these folks get when they leave the room. I've told people, my wife included, that there's been many times after coming out of our CEO groups that I'm flying high. I just can't believe how it excites me to hear about all of the things that these CEOs are doing with their businesses and learning from each other. You know, we only have so much knowledge though. And so part of our process and what we can deliver, especially when you're dealing with issues like this coronavirus and how it's impacting people, we've already had outside speakers come in and speak to our CEO group about some of the things that they were dealing with the, you know, FFCRA, the triple P, and all those things. And I know it's helpful. And that conversation actually came up again yesterday. Businesses are challenged, that is for sure. Outside speakers, we've had several, and I don't know, Lori, if you could think of something that you picked up from one of our outside speakers, would you be willing to sort of share that with us today, something you could use in your business?
Sure. We are a small business, and as CEOs, we wear a lot of hats. One of my hats is HR, and I don't have the time to devote to it that needs be. So numerous times you've brought in HR consultants and specialists, and those speakers have vast knowledge. They're up to date. It's current. And then we have their contacts later as things pop up that we can make a call and get some quick answers, get the right answers. So for me, the HR consultants have been very, very beneficial. They've all been beneficial, but those I would say are by far the best for me.
Was there anything in particular?
I'm sorry?
Was there anything in particular that you might have picked up from one of our specialists who came in?
Well, I just used last week, based on the virus and everything going on, and I was able to use one of the consultants to get more up to date on that. That was the most current. But I've used just updating our handbook, our employee handbook. I have used the specialist, the information they've given us to make that more updated. And I think I did that probably 2 years ago. Also, I know one of the speakers was on insurance and how you can be more knowledgeable when going into your renewal year, what you can do to promote your business, to sell it. Mm-hmm. And I did that with your help, Mark, and it did help. My agent was shocked. He said, I've never had anyone do this before. But I feel that it did help that year. So just little things like that. It just kind of takes a little bit of weight off your shoulders.
Well, I want to go back to something you said, Lori, about the HR specialist. I know you and I have had a conversation recently about all the programs coming out. I know you went to one of our specialists with kind of your concerns. Did that actually help you kind of get clarification on some of the programs?
Yes, very much. I probably spent 45 minutes on the phone with her. She was able to break down the separate programs for me, bring me up to date, even as far as there was a poster that I needed to have up that I didn't. So just those little things that get slipped by sometimes that we're required to do. And it was as easy as printing it out and putting it up on the board. So she was very helpful.
Good. Yeah, Jack, how about for yourself? One of our speakers maybe provide you with something? Yeah,
Mark, one that comes to mind, last May, I invited over through your approval and Dan's approval, the ABI, the Iowa Association of Business Industry, And what they like to do is go out and do a review or summary of what happened at the State House from January to May. Now, this year is a little different because they basically all went home because of COVID-19. But last May, they were able to come over, and Mike Ralston, the president of ABI, along with J.D. Davis, Nicole Crane, and Brad Hartkoff, came in and basically gave us about an hour summary of the different bills that went through the House and the Senate. Some very important, and ABI is very pro-business, which I really enjoy. And they covered all what really happened, did a deep dive on the different bills, and it was very informative to the CEOs. We invited in some other guests, and I would tell you it's something I want to continue to do this year because they adjourned, I believe, about mid-March. I'm not exactly sure when they're going to reconvene and when they're going to dismiss for the year, because this has everything backed up. So I would say stay tuned on that, but I know that's on the docket to do that. I personally like to have speakers, and this is all again approved by Mark and Dan as far as what's the title, what's the subject, what are they going to cover, and so that's part of the learning that happens with the monthly CEO tables, and that's something that we like to do. We don't do it every meeting, but we like to sprinkle speakers in it, and it keeps everything very informative and actually fun. So.
Yeah, speakers are an important part of our overall program, and right now, with the coronavirus hitting all of you guys so hard, it's going to be important for us to keep a few of those folks at hand, and we will have them back in the future. Those speakers are generally determined, though, by the input that we get from our executives, because it's hard to know month to month, year to year, exactly what are some of the issues that are testing these CEOs. So we take polls, we ask survey questions, and then from all of that we get an idea of who we need to bring in. Right now, with the issue what's going on with the economy, there's a lot of stress. So I know for both of you guys, your businesses have been pretty steady. How do you see things happening with the current issue with coronavirus and impacting the possible continued slowdown of the economy? How do you see things happening for you, Lori, in the next 6 months to a year?
Well, I think for the next 6 months, things will probably stay pretty much on course because our process, the jobs are let a year, months in advance. So if there's going to be an impact, it'll be delayed. My main concern is the dollars that are being put towards this virus. Where's that money going to come from to repay that? So I'm worried about infrastructure down the road. If they make some cuts in that area, that will affect us. I'm hopeful that won't happen, but it's happened in the past. So I guess we'll just fasten our seatbelts and hold on and pray for the best.
Would you say that having been part of this peer group might better prepare you for what you need to do in terms of maybe cutting costs or, looking at things a little differently if that happens?
Yeah, I mean, it's different. CEOs within the group have already gone through this earlier on, and we've talked about it and what they did and what's worked, what hasn't. And basically what I took away from it is be proactive and prepare for the worst, hope for the best. But all of us have had an instance or two of this, and we can learn from them and file it away and hopefully never have to use it, but it's there to pull out if we need to.
Yeah. Jack, I want to ask you a little different question here.
Okay.
This week we talked about stress at our meeting.
Yeah.
Can you maybe share with us, as much as you feel comfortable, about stress that you're experiencing in your business now or in the, at home even, whatever you want to share.
Yeah, you know, as far as the business, Mark, right after the COVID-19 roosted, I will say, I had two employees that say, you know, this is unsafe to work here. I gotta go. Now I didn't lay them off. They self, you know, isolated, furloughed, whatever you want to call it. That produced some stress, and I'm like, well, you know, if I have everybody wanting to do that, you know, in my business, if I can't make the product, by the way, I was deemed business essential. So they're like, if you can't make our product, raise your hand because we got to find somebody that will. So that produced a lot of stress, Mark. But then we settled in, got our facility safe. We do temperature checks daily. We clean the entire office and the plant area twice a day. And so we've managed to manage our stress here. Our business, you know, I'll tell you, Mark, one thing that will create a lot of stress is, is when orders dry up. And I'm going to just dump into back to what Lori said, is I know my core business is solid right now. I get a snapshot of about 2 months of what I'm going to be doing. And I know what I'm going to be doing in June here, probably by lunchtime today. That helps. But I'm optimistic because I'm in the window door business, which is, you're still going to have to create products for homes. The home is a sanctuary. So I'm hopeful the next 6 months will be our normal busy 6 months, but the COVID-19 is going to disrupt a lot of things. There's a lot of unknowns. You know, I personally, I handle stress a couple different ways, but I love to exercise.
Now be careful how you share that, Jack.
But I also like to have a cocktail to unwind it. So that's all good. I'm fine. And but yeah. It's interesting. The work, personal life have to be balanced. As a CEO, you have to release your tensions. You got to figure out how to get around this problem and be ready for another one. But you know, that's the life of a CEO. But that's what nice thing about the tables. When we get together, we look across from each other. We're all kind of facing the same issues. Some days you really enjoy being a CEO. Some days you go, well, I guess I'm here for a reason, you know, because things come at you fast and furious.
But you know, this week you guys were in the meeting, which we did virtual, and I'll tell you, our meetings being virtual is a bit more of a challenge.
Right.
It's what we have to do for now.
Right.
And we talked about stress, and we talked about stress for employees. And I'm not going to say what I heard, but I'd like to hear what you guys think you heard is coming out of that meeting. What is one of the things that you might share with all the folks watching today on what a company can do to reduce stress between those people who are making decisions to guide the company, like yourselves, and the employees? Is there something they can do that would really help put those employees at ease? And either one of you.
Okay. Lori, I'll jump in real quick because I remember we talked about it, but I think the key is kind of like the leader of the organization has to be relaxed, be confident, and manage the stress because it filters down to all the people. If you're walking around a little wigged out and stressed out, it's not good. People get uneasy. So I think the confidence in the leadership and the decisions and just making sure everybody knows it's going to be okay and it's safe to work here. I think that goes a long ways. It's that what do you call it? Body language. So.
Yeah, that's true. Lori, anything you can add?
But basically, I think what I took away from it is just keep that line of communication open. This is a learning experience for all of us. And as CEOs, we are not experienced in this at all, but let them know we're doing our best to keep updated on what we need to. And just listen to your employees. Try to keep it as normal as possible. I mean, I was happy when one of my kids showed me he bought a dirt bike over the weekend, you know, and we could have, we're distance, but we could have that conversation and just that keeping things as normal as possible.
Well, you guys hit on both of the key issues that I thought were brought up at that meeting, and thank you. That shows you were listening and taking notes, probably. Thank you. Dan, you're still there, right? Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anything that comes to your mind that while we got you online here with these folks that you would like to sort of pick their brain on?
I guess the thought that I had in my mind right now is that I know it can be isolating and lonely at the top for a CEO. Um, Sometimes it's hard to approach employees in a vulnerable way, to ask them things or to get their opinion. And oftentimes, frankly, their opinion maybe isn't going to help anyway, just because of their lack of experience, lack of being there. So I do feel like one thing that our program has always operated on is the notion that it can be lonely at the top. And right now, with COVID, everybody is lonely. We're all forced into these into our homes, basically, right? And we're not supposed to go anywhere, see anybody, type of thing. And I wonder how maybe they might reflect on their own experience of being lonely at the top a little bit. And that's really the only thing that I had to add, maybe, Mark.
Okay. Reaction, either one of you?
Lori, you first.
Um, I think that, yeah, it can be, but with any position anywhere, you're going to have your pros and cons. The one thing I would say about this group is we have developed friendships. So one of the other members here in town, I think he has called me every week for the last 4 weeks just to check in to see how things are going. You need anything? Just picking each other's brains, and that's come from this group. It's a friendship that we built. Jack and I, we talk all the time. We used to run into each other all the time at lunch. Unfortunately, we don't do that so much anymore. But I think that's it. We've built relationships and friendships, and we've figured out each other's personalities. And like I said, it is lonely, but it was lonely sometimes before this, and it's going to get better. But I think one of the biggest positives that I take away from this group is those friendships that we've built, and I do look forward to the meetings every month.
Great. Jack, anything to add?
Well, yeah, Lori said it very well, and I would say, Dan, it's and Mark, I know when you ran companies, it can be, but this outlet for having the CEO roundtables is a good release because we have all month to think about our issues and present them. I'm also fortunate. My operations person helps me when I get, especially she wears the HR hat. So if you want to talk about stress, get some people stuff going on. That's stress, and I let her really help her, and I bounce ideas by her, and she knows how I think. She knows my strong suits. She knows my not so strong suits. But the CEO roundtable is really, that's the group that keeps you grounded. And some days at the meeting, some months, it's like, wow, I thought I had a big problem, but you get trumped.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
anyway.
Yeah, just as we finish up here, I do think you guys are exactly right, though, in terms of one of the additional values here is the ability to create relationships with other executives like yourself, and to do it in a professional way. And I can tell you, the lunches that we've had over the years are some of the best times I've had, when we really get a chance to just let our hair down.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, keeps getting longer these days. I was thinking about going to a ponytail, but anyway.
You can do whatever you want, Mark.
Yeah, I know. So I want to thank you guys. We wanted to spend about a half hour, so I want to thank you for taking time and sharing with us some of your thoughts during this challenging time, and letting people know that a CEO group could be right for them. And we do have one that is starting up in Cedar Rapids, and we will have one I think in the near future also in Cedar Falls. So we're hoping to get together some other folks and do exactly what you guys been doing now for almost 4 years.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
you're welcome, Mark.
thank you both. And
Dan?
I think that's about it for right now.
Thank you, Lori and Jack, and good luck with your businesses and your employees and your health. Take care.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye.